Hey everyone, welcome back to another Elder Scrolls Online video. So they just released the patch notes for Clockwork City, so I thought I would kind of go through them kind of briefly. And mainly just go through things that I'm kind of more interested in. So they did a whole bunch of things here. Obviously they have more information about Clockwork City, what it's going to improve. What it's going to include, and they have some updates to Morrowind, Horns of the Reach, and also the base game. A few known issues like normal, fixes and improvements, some combat and gameplay changes, and also more information on what's going to be included in the base game patch. So I'm gonna kind of go through the Clockwork City part kind of quickly. They have a new, they have the Brass Fortress, which is the center of the city itself, dedicated priests and inventors. So that's kind of cool. They have a new world boss. I think 2 of them. The Sanctuary of Verification, and I don't even know how to pronounce that, the Exarch's Egris? And it looks like 2 delves, so delves are solo player friendly areas, so 2 new dungeons that you can do by yourself if you want to, and repeatable bounties, so hopefully those give you some good rewards for doing them. And let's see, new sites to explore. 2 full quest objectives exist in the wilderness of the Clockwork City: the Everwound Wellspring and the Mnemonic Planesphere. So that's cool, 2 quests that you can do. There's also a new trial, which I know a lot of people are looking forward to, called the Asylum Sanctorium. And it's a 12-player trial located within the Brass Fortress of the Clockwork City. And there's, of course, a normal and a veteran version. There is a new skill augmenting asylum weapons, which, I'm gonna have to read more about that because I have no idea what they mean. Oh, it's the same fashion as Master and Maelstrom, so I guess it's like a new version of those kind of weapons. And there's also some unique achievement rewards, such as the skin, several titles, and unique housing items. So let's take a look at these, what is this? Asylum Sanctorium itemization. In Asylum Sanctorium, you can obtain rewards based not only on the trial's difficulty, normal or veteran, but also on how many allies the boss Saint Olmus has with him. Interesting. Defeating either Saint Lothus or Saint Felms on their lonesome will award you green quality items in normal mode or blue quality in veteran mode. And so I guess it depends. If you defeat the bosses on their own, you get a certain reward, and then if you defeat them along with all the other bosses at the same time, you get better rewards. That's what it kind of sounds like, which sounds kind of cool, but very challenging. There are some new collectibles, which is kind of interesting. I'm not really interested in those that much, but let's see, we have some new item sets. There are 12 new item sets available from a variety of sources. 3 item sets are available at crafting stations in Clockwork City, 3 are available through drops throughout Clockwork City, and 6 are available as drops in the new trial. So let's see, the crafted sets are the Innate Axiom, which gives you, for 2 pieces, max magicka, 3 pieces max stamina, 4 you get spell critical and weapon critical, and 5 adds 400 spell and weapon damage. That's kind of interesting. That kind of reminds me of a not as good version of Shacklebreaker, but it seems like they're trying to kind of market towards hybrid builds, which I don't think really work, but that's cool. And then there's Fortified Brass, which gives you max health, physical resistance, spell resistance, and also more physical and spell. Oh my god, that's gonna be like a good set for tanks, I guess. Mechanical Acuity, which gives you weapon damage, spell damage, max stamina, max magicka, and when you deal damage, you have a 15% chance to gain unerring mechanical vision for 5 seconds, causing your attacks to always be a critical strike. Holy crap. This effect can occur once every 18 seconds. I could see a lot of Nightblades using that in PvP. That's actually kind of interesting. Actually, I don't know. Would that be good in PvP? I would have to test that out, but that's kind of interesting. Okay, these are the sets that are dropped in Clockwork City. We have Mad Tinkerer, which is a light armor set. Oh, I didn't look. Okay, yeah, these are crafted, so they come in everything. So the light armor set gives you spell critical, spell damage, and when you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to summon a verminous fabricant that charges the nearest enemy, dealing, holy crap, 10,000 shock damage to all enemies in its path, knocking them into the air and stunning them for 2 seconds. This can occur every 10 seconds. So we get another proc set, basically. I mean, at least it's a 5-piece, but I'm not sure how I feel about that. We also get Unfathomable Darkness, which is a medium set, which gives you weapon critical, physical penetration, weapon damage, and for the 5-piece, when you deal damage, you have a 10% chance, which is another proc set, to call a murder of crows around you for 12 seconds. Every 3 seconds, a crow will be sent to peck the closest enemy within 12 meters of you, dealing 4,000 physical damage. And this can occur once every 15 seconds. Okay, I don't really care about that. And then there's the Live Wire set, which is heavy. It gives you healing taken, max health, healing taken, and when you take damage, you have 25% chance to overload your circuits, applying concussion to enemies within 8 meters of you and healing for 1,000 health for every enemy hit. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. That's kind of interesting. That would be a good set to use if you're like soloing in PvP maybe. But I don't know, none of these really interest me that much at the moment. And then we have the Asylum weapons. So let's see, what is this? Chaotic Whirlwind Perfected. So it looks like there's 2 versions of these, like normal and perfected. Okay, well let me actually read what it says. The perfected versions drop in veteran difficulty while the normal versions drop in normal. Oh, that's cool. That's actually kind of interesting. So now you can get a reward no matter what mode you do, but obviously the veteran one is going to be better, I'm assuming. The 2 cannot be mixed together to complete a full set for dual wield and one hand and shield. The only difference between the 2 are the numerical values. Okay, so let's see. The Chaotic Whirlwind Perfected is when you deal damage with Whirlwind, you add 10 seconds to your active Twin Slashes, Lacerate, and Blade Cloak over time effects. This effect can occur once per cast of those abilities. Interesting. Okay, so it's not really that big of a difference between the normal and the perfected mode. Perfected just gives you like 2 seconds extra, so it's not that big of a deal. Concentrated Force. Force Shock always applies the burning, concussion, and chilled status effect. This effect can occur once every 4 seconds per enemy. Interesting. And for the normal one, it's 5 seconds. Okay, whatever. Defensive Posture Perfected. When you reflect or absorb a spell projectile with defensive posture, you return 2,000 magicka. If defensive posture expires without reflecting or absorbing a spell projectile, you restore 5,000 magicka instead. Okay, that's good for tanks, I guess. Magicka tanks, anyway. Discipline Slash Perfected. When you deal damage with Reverse Slash, oh god, you generate up to 15 ultimate based on how much execute bonus damage is dealt. Wow, I could actually see this being a really useful weapon in PvP. I mean, I might be wrong, I'm not the best like with theory crafting and stuff, but I could really see this being useful in PvP. Piercing Spray Perfected. When you deal damage with Arrow Spray, you cause enemies to take 50% more damage from direct damage portion of your next snipe, scatter shot, or poison arrow used within 5 seconds. Great, that's what we need, more people spamming snipe, because I really hate those in PvP. Timeless Blessing Perfected. When you cast Blessing of Protection, the cost of your next Grand Healing, Regeneration, or Steadfast Ward used within 5 seconds is reduced by 50%. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Nice, so, I don't know, these don't seem like over-the-top strong to me, but I could definitely see a few of them being useful. I know I would use the Destruction Staff one, the Concentrated Force. I would be interested to see how that works in PvP. So these look pretty good so far, and I'm actually really happy that you can get them in normal mode. I've never done a trial before, but I can tell you I probably wouldn't be able to do a veteran trial unless I had someone carry me through it. So what is this new target dummy, the Precursor? Precursor? What is this? This new target dummy item can be attained by finding all of the Precursor's parts throughout Clockwork City. Though only slightly more durable than a typical public dungeon boss, it dryly clips as you sharpen your blade upon it? Okay. So there's two new motifs? I never know how to say that word, motifs. The Apostle style and the Ebon Shadow style. Cool, I can't wait to see those. And there's over 200 new furnishings, wow. And over 40 new achievements, that's kind of a lot, and 6 new titles. So I'm gonna kind of skim, oh wait, what's this? Oh, there's two new motifs in the Horns of the Reach, the Dreadhorn style and the Bloodforge style, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so now we have Transmutation. I'm kind of interested in seeing that. Okay, let's see. A new way of altering your equipment is available in this update. Transmutation allows you to permanently change the trait of an item to one of your choosing. The requirements to utilize Transmutation is as follows. It can be done at a Transmute station, which is a new service station found in the Brass Fortress. Home furnishing versions of these stations may also be purchased for writ vouchers from Rala Slalu, the Master Writ Merchant. Interesting. So, Transmutation requires transmute crystals, precious resources occasionally received for successfully completing veteran PvE activities such as pledges, trials, and arenas, and several PvP sources such as rewards for the worthy, battleground end of match rewards, and AVA end of campaign rewards. Nice, so I'm really happy you can get those from PvP and PvE. I think that's really great. Transmute crystals are an account-wide capped currency which cannot be banked or traded. Interesting, so you're not going to be able to sell those or trade them to other players. Transmutation requires having previously researched the desired trait. Okay, that makes sense. And of course, jewelry cannot be transmuted. Too bad, but that doesn't surprise me. Trait Tracker. Along with the ability to change traits, equipment tooltips now have an icon next to the trait that communicates the trait status. So there's 4, can research ornate intricate trait change. Okay, that's kind of interesting. No icon equals no trait or researched. Inventory views have a column dedicated to displaying this iconography. The deconstruction screen will now group items based on trait status, blah blah blah. The sell screen and vendors will list ornate items at the top. With the ability to more easily determine your own trait knowledge, the ability to change traits depending on your trait knowledge, you should now enjoy easier management of your inventory, which is cool. That's definitely a good thing. What is this? Crafting Writ Turn-In Site Universalization. With the Clockwork City game base update, you can now turn in your crafting writs at any writ turn-in site throughout the world, regardless of crafting rank. That's great, because I think a lot of people are kind of confused where to go as they level up their crafting writs, so being able to turn them in anywhere I think is a good change. There are new houses, something I have absolutely no interest in. 2 new homes are going to be available to purchase, both of these notable homes, so they're going to be notable homes, which means they're going to be expensive. And of course there's going to be a champion point increase, so the cap is going to be raised by a total of 30 points. So the total is going to be 690 points. I'm going to kind of skip the templates. Art and animation, I think I'm going to skip these. Okay, I'm interested in PvP, so let's see some of these changes. For Battlegrounds, Battleground queues are now divided into 10 to 49 and 50. This means you will only have level 50 players playing against other level 50 players. Okay, that's good. Oh, cool. The level 50 Battleground queue is now CP enabled. Yay! That's kind of the main reason why I never did Battlegrounds anymore, was because they were non-CP, and I'm not really interested in non-CP, so I'm personally happy about that. Capture the Relic interactions have changed. There is now a brief animation and interaction time in picking up relics in the wild, or at home locations. Relics are still captured by moving near your home relic with an enemy relic, and also added 5 new achievements relating to Battlegrounds. That's cool. Wait, that's it for PvP? Alright, whatever. Okay, now we have some class changes, so let's see. For the Warden, Animal Companion's Deceptive Predator, the Falcon Swiftness morph. This morph now increases the duration to 14 seconds, in addition to granting minor evasion. Okay, that's cool, because I think it was way too short before. For Green Balance, Nature's Grasp, increase the range of this ability at its morph to 28 meters from 22. Okay, that's a good change. Bursting Vines, increase the projectile speed for this morph by 100% and increase the heal from this morph by 10%. Bursting, okay, yeah, I guess that's cool. I didn't really play a Warden, so it's whatever. Frozen Gate, this ability and its morph now allow you to have up to 3 gates active at a time, up from 1. Its initial spawning visual effect is now visible to enemies. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen this skill being used in PvP, so it's interesting. And there are some fixes. Animal Companions Betty Netch reduce the intensity of the visual effect. Okay, Blue Betty morph. Fix an issue with this morph where it was not removing a negative effect from you. Okay, that's good if you had more than 1. Okay, I know a lot of people are actually asking about that, so I'm glad they changed that. Or fixed that, rather. Green Balance Fungal Growth fixed an issue where some of the visual effects of this ability and its morph were not aligned with the current location of the healing cone. Great. Winter's Embrace Frozen Gate fixed an issue where the visual effect of the Frozen Retreat synergy from this ability and its morphs would linger on your character for an extended period of time. Delves? Wait, that's all the class changes? Really? Really? I mean, honestly, I don't think that many class changes were needed. The only thing I was thinking is that in PvP, I strictly speak for PvP most of the time, so I'm sorry if you're not interested in it. But right now, I think that people are way too tanky, especially stamina builds. Like, except for Nightblades, all stamina builds I think run heavy armor. So they can, like, they have very high survivability, they can dodge roll a lot, they can just, like, tank a lot, and yet they can do damage, so that's something I wish they would tweak a little bit. But whatever, not a big deal. Not, like, super important. These are fixes, improvements. I'm not really interested in those. Combat... Oh, okay, no, sorry. They have more changes here. Combat balance. Okay. So they targeted the least used class abilities and morphs for major improvements, which is good. Because there are definitely a lot of skills that are not used that could be. So, General, reduce the duration of stun applied to you when you are knocked off your mount for 2 seconds from 3. And you will now gain CC immunity after the stun. Ooh, I kind of like that. I kind of like that. I think that's a good change. It's a little change, but it's a good change. So, Dragonite. Okay, Ardent Flame. Cauterize. Increase the speed of the projectile from this morph by approximately 50%, and the projectile can now target the casting Dragonite. Okay. Interesting. Again, I haven't played a Dragonite that much, so I'm not really sure if any of these changes are going to be good or not. Let me know if you do play a Dragonite. Let me know your thoughts on these. Earth and Heart, Petrify. This ability and its morphs are no longer 30-second disorients. Instead, they are 2.5-second stuns that cannot be blocked or dodged, and they can be placed on multiple targets. We also reduced the cost of this ability and its morphs by 23%. Wow, that's actually a big game changer. I mean, I kind of feel like that sucks for solo players, because, I don't know, Petrify was a pretty good, it's a pretty good skill anyway. I see a lot of Dragonites using it, so I'm kind of curious how they're gonna feel about this change. I mean, it could be good. It kind of actually sounds like, it reminds me of Nightblade's, Fear, Mass Hysteria. How it can't be blocked or dodged. That's actually really interesting. Shifting Standard, which is a Dragonite standard morph. This morph now increases the duration of the standard to 25 seconds, and the standard can be shifted an unlimited amount of times. Shifting the standard no longer refreshes the duration, and the cost of this morph is now the same as the base ability, okay? Nightblade, Manifestation of Terror, Aspect of Terror morph. Yeah, nobody uses this morph. This morph now fears up to 6 enemies per trap, up from 2. And the trap no longer triggers if a crowd control immune enemy walks over it. Enemies can now see an initial projectile marking the trap's location. Okay, I don't know how I feel about that. Oh wow. Mass Hysteria. This morph no longer fears an additional enemy, but only fears the same amount of enemies as the base ability, so 2 enemies. It continues to afflict minor maim as the morph effect. Okay, that's still kind of strong. It's not like that big of a deal. I think Mass Hysteria is a very strong skill, so I think that nerf was probably kind of needed. Siphoning Agony. This ability and its morph is now an ally-targeted spell that heals them over time. and damages you for 50% of the amount healed. What? We also renamed this ability to Malevolent Offering. That's so weird. Wait, so it heals your target, but it damages the caster? That's so weird. Malefic? I hope I'm saying that right. Wreath? I think did they mean Wrath? Malefic Wrath? Whatever. This morph now grants minor mending when it deals damage to you, and has been renamed to Healthy Offering. That's kind of interesting. I don't think Nightblades have any, they don't have any skill that granted them minor mending, so that's kind of cool. Prolonged Suffering. This morph now decreases the amount of self-inflicted damage dealt to you to 35% of the amount healed, and has been renamed to Shrewd Offering. These are weird. I don't know how I feel about these. Curious to see what other people are gonna say. Soul Siphon, Soul Shred increases the distance an ally can travel away from you before the heal tether snaps to 25 meters, up from 20. Okay, that's whatever. Oh no, I'm scared. I don't want sorcerers to get nerfed, because people always say they're overpowered, but they really aren't. So let's see. Crystal Blast. Oh my god, are they doing something to Crystal Blast? Increase the splash damage of this morph by approximately 25%. Okay, it definitely needed a buff. I know of maybe one person in PvP that uses this skill, so good for it. Rune Prison. No, not my Rune Prison. I love this skill. This ability and its morphs are no longer 30-second disorients. Instead, there are 2.5 second stuns that cannot be blocked or dodged. And they can be placed on multiple targets. Holy crap. Rune Cage. This morph now deals damage to the enemy if the stun lasts its full duration. I don't think it would. I don't like this morph. Let's see. Defensive Rune morph continues to place a buff on you that will stun the next enemy that damages you. That's kind of interesting, because I really like Defensive Rune. I use that all the time on my sorcerer, so I'm kind of interested to see what this will do. I think it's actually a decent buff. So I'm gonna look forward to playing around with that. Okay, Templar, Dawn's Wrath. Templar, Dawn's Wrath Eclipse. This ability and its morph now returns damage whenever the affected enemy casts a direct damage attack. It still grants crowd control immunity when the effect ends, and can now be removed by break free. Oh, thank you, because I hated not being able to break free from that. Eclipse can now be placed on an unlimited amount of enemies. Okay, I think that's good. Total Dark, the morph now heals you when the target casts a direct damage attack. And Unstable Core, this morph adds area of effect damage when the effect ends. Okay, I don't know if that's like, if they made it much stronger, but I'm just happy they allow you to break free from it now. Solar Barrage, which is a Solar Flare morph. This morph now has a cast time that matches the base ability, and now causes you to pulse point blank area of effect damage every 2 seconds for 6 seconds? I don't know, I'm kind of confused. I don't really know what they're saying with this. Weapon, Bow, Acid Spray, increase the damage over time of this morph by approximately 65%. Ugh. I hate poison. Ugh. Okay, let's see. Now they have some combat fixes and improvements. Updated the information in the elemental status effects help menu to remove incorrect information. Fixed an issue where you could revive and immediately cast the last ability. Okay, yeah, that was kind of annoying. Dragonite, Unrelenting Grip. Fixed an issue where this morph would not refund the ability's costs. I'm gonna kind of skim through these because these are just bug fixes, I think, and I'm not really interested in them. Okay, what is this? Itemization Balance. The Master and Maelstrom unique enchantments have been rebuilt as item sets, with the new Asylum weapons following suit as an item set and not an enchantment. This means you can now safely enchant and re-enchant these weapons. That's kind of interesting. Okay. Many of the Master and Maelstrom item sets have undergone significant balancing. I don't have any of these, so it really doesn't matter to me, but for the people that do, maybe there were good changes. I'm not really going to read them, but you know, you can pause the video or you can read the patch notes for yourself if you want to see those. Okay, there's some item sets that they did. Reduce the intensity and frequency of the visual effect and audio from the following item sets: Mighty Chuden and Slime Craw. Oh, I like the Slime Craw effect. Maybe it was annoying to some people, but I actually like the glowy red hands. I thought it looked cool. Defiler, the monster summoned by this item set now spawns next to the enemy you critically hit instead of spawning next to you. Earthgore, this item set's proc will now display a friendly telegraph to your allies. Fasala's Guile, fix an issue where the proc of this item set would aggro neutral monsters around you. That's kind of funny. Okay, whatever. Just bug fixes. I'm gonna kind of just scroll down to something that interests me. There's some UI changes. I don't know if it's really worth reading these. Let's see Alliance War in Cyrodiil. A new option for AVA announcements has been added to the social settings. This allows you to configure when AVA announcements such as the Elder Scroll being returned are displayed as center screen messages. These will now only display while you are in the Alliance War location by default, and you can turn them completely on or off, which is good because a lot of people are complaining they don't like those, so now you can turn them off if you don't want to see them. The Cyrodiil map will now display the campaign name for the one you're in, while outside of Cyrodiil this should be your home campaign. Okay, that's kind of cool. Fix an issue where conflict indicators could persist in Cyrodiil map when switching between campaigns. Okay. Crafting counter traits will now be discovered when they prevent an unexpected effect from being incorporated into an alchemy craft. Survey writ maps will now display their quick slot stack. Okay, whatever. I don't really care about these. Alright, well, I guess that's kind of everything there was. I don't know, some good changes. What do you guys think? Hi, YouTubers. I think there's some pretty interesting changes, actually. I'm glad they addressed some not frequently used skills. I'm glad they're trying to balance them out and make them a little more desirable, like certain morphs that nobody ever uses. I don't know how they're gonna turn out. I'm gonna have to actually PvP and see how they affect combat, but I think they're pretty good changes. I'm glad they didn't do anything too drastic. I'm glad there weren't any nerfs. I don't think anybody wants to see any nerfs this patch cycle. I'm definitely happy with the transmutation. I think it's great that you can get them from PvE and PvP. That should make everybody happy, and it's definitely a good system because I definitely have a few weapons that I would like to change to the trait of. Overall, I like the changes. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of these patch notes, and I will see you guys soon in the next video. Bye, guys!